Alright, the major claim I'm responding to is that the DS Lite has significant advantages in video gaming over the DSi. Now, my opponent's secondary claims are the DS Lite, or the DSi lacks abilities compared to the DS Lite, which is the older one. The DSi, the new features of that, have small amount of games that utilize these features, and that the cost and evaluation of the old DS Lite is more advantageous in video games than the DSi. The first claim, that the DSi lacks abilities compared to the DS Lite, really the only ability it lacks is the lack of a GBA slot, or the Game Boy Advance game slot, which allows for an older Game Boy game to be played. Now, what they did add instead of this is the SD card slot, which allows any game from any Game Boy possibly to be played at this time, once somebody comes out with what's called homebrew and these things called ROMs, which are just a digital copy of a game that you can put on this card and put on your Game Boy. The second claim is that the new features have a small amount of games that utilize these features. While I agree there are only 5 games, the DS has only been out for a month in the United States. So there's been a lack of time for developers and other companies to get on this and make games that utilize these features, considering these are new features to the DS. And lastly, the cost and evaluation, and that was from the DSi review, DSiconsoles.com. The cost and evaluation, the third claim is that cost and evaluation shows the DS Lite more advantageous in video games because the DS Lite is priced lower. But then again, for the DSi, you get many more features, including camera, SD card slot, the web browser, which that alone would have made a product even more viable to buy. Just web browser, everybody wants that now. Also, the DSi shop, the ability to buy games digitally, no actual going to the store. I just connect to the internet and buy games. That alone is worth the extra money to some people, especially. Also, if people who haven't had a DS Lite, the DSi would be more worthwhile to buy in the long run, as it will be supported longer. And that's it. Thank you. Do you mind?
An outline, yes. Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, well, the labeling is pretty clear. You summarize the ideas effectively. Your challenge on the first point suggests that the difference is really the access port that you were talking about, and you have an explanation of how that's supposed to work. I could use a source for that. I trust that you're accurate on that. I assume you're probably right. I don't know, though, not having any knowledge of any of these systems whatsoever. You know, it would help me a little bit if you provided a source citation on that, like you did later on when you were talking about, for instance, the availability of the games, and you had a good explanation about why there is a limited availability of games. And it also sounds, for instance, like it's likely that designers or gamers will be designing games that will be adaptable to, for instance, the port that you talked about. The signpost on the third point was pretty clear. Your explanation on cost issues was solid. And again, I think that's the specifications point. I trust that this is factual data. It seems pretty reasonable to me. A source citation would not hurt you. And I thought you gave a pretty good criteria on those particular points. So short and to the point, but it makes the point pretty effectively. So it was fine as far as it went. Thank you.